Horror Junkies of Utah coming at you tonight. I am Tracie and I have Eddie with me, and we are going to be talking about American Horror Story, Season 5, Episode 7 of Hotel. It never gets old, does it?
Never.
So, to start off, I want to say this is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite episode so far.
I really enjoyed this episode. It wouldn't be my favorite episode, but I love how it had that old Hollywood movie and just the reference they do for Nosferatu, and it was just an overall great episode.
What reference do they make to?
So the reference they make to Nosferatu is that they actually used a real vampire because, Nosferatu doesn't have real vampires in it. So they claim in the American Horror Story that they did use a real vampire for authenticity.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that. Apparently, I guess. So, let's see. So this episode is based mainly around Lady Gaga, the Countess's character, and how she became a vampire or got this blood disease, as they would like to call it. This is probably one of my favorite episodes because of the time period it's mainly set in.
I love that time period.
Because it flashes back to 1925 and it's stuck there for
the rolling 20s
for a minute, and I think that's the icing on the cake for me. I think that's what made this episode for me, and it unveiled a lot of secrets, I guess you could say.
Yeah, you finally found out what was behind the wall and everything. That was kind of interesting with the mystery hallway and everything.
And I didn't really, I guess I must not have been paying very close attention. I didn't ever realize that there was like a secret wall or a wall that was hidden or anything like that.
Yeah, you didn't really know too much about it, but when the contractors are finally doing the renovations for Drake, they decide to knock out that wall, and he's like, "Get going, I'm on a schedule."
Well, and I love in the beginning how Will Drake is like, "So, son, I really like this blonde lady." His son's like, "Well, I thought you liked men."
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
It's complicated being an adult. Which is very, very true. So it flashes, so before that, when it shows the wall, seeing it getting tore down, and Iris and the Countess go up to the wall, it was interesting because Lady Gaga is kind of like looking in there and looking extremely terrified, and Iris notices that and says, I've never seen you scared before. Like, what? So that kind of intrigued me because I'm like, well, what was behind this wall? Why is the
what's
Countess
going on,
looking so terrified and everything? So then it flashes back to 1925, obviously, and I loved the vulnerability that the Countess had because she was like a young, upcoming actress.
Yeah, she was trying to make it in Hollywood and everything, and you actually saw more of a sensitive side to the Countess.
And another thing that I loved about this episode, I thought that acting in it was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was definitely on point.
I thought it was so on point in this episode compared to the other ones.
Yeah.
Maybe because the Countess had a lot more dialogue in it or something.
Yeah, I mean, the Countess, she definitely had a lot more dialogue in here. This was more of an episode with her background and how, everything panned out for her.
Yeah, so it goes back, and it's freaking awesome because Finn Whitrock is the man that she's after. I can't think of what his character name. Right? It's Finn Whitrock. It was Tristan.
Yeah.
So I thought that was awesome that they kind of had him come back in and and I love that era. I love how the men were.
Oh, yeah.
They were just so dashing and attractive to me. So, another thing that I loved. But what did you find to be the most interesting part of this? I know what I thought was interesting. What did you think was the most interesting thing that you pulled away from this episode?
To actually see Mr. Marsh actually really love a person. That's kind of interesting because I thought that man could never love somebody.
And that was what mine tied into. I had no idea that the Countess and Mr. Marsh had gotten married. I didn't think that for a second because, again, they never have any interaction or anything in previous episodes. So I was kind of surprised when it shows her wanting to be with Finn Whitrock's character and that other woman. I'm not sure what her name was. And then come to find out that the Countess married Mr. Marsh.
Yeah, Mr. Marsh put him way behind the wall.
Yeah, but I had no idea that those two were married.
Yeah.
At all. So, because I know in like a past episode she's talking about how she married a very wealthy man and then...
Yeah. I mean, they put a few references, but they don't really make a solid point that she was married to Mr. Marsh.
Yeah, so it's all really starting to fall into place for me, and how she's tied into the hotel, and how he is, and everything like that. So it's really starting to fall into line for me.
Yeah. And what's kind of interesting, too, is that Mr. Marsh's kid, that little demon vampire child.
So that's his kid. So...
And he must
or
not...
is it?
Yeah, that's...
Or is it Finn Whitrock's kid?
Yeah, and seeing their year and a half find out more about that, I mean, they have to explain that.
Yeah. Because that kid... Because she had to have had the virus.
Personally, I don't think it's Mr. Marsh's child. I think it's the other guy's child, Fitrock.
Yeah, it probably is. I didn't even think about that. That didn't even pop into my head until just now. Yeah, so that baby is probably Finn. I can't freaking think of it. Tristan. His name's Tristan on the show before, Lady Gaga kills him off or whatever. So I'll just call him Tristan for right now. But I was extremely impressed with Evan Peters' acting, Lady Gaga's. I was blown away. Yeah,
it was great dialogue, great acting. Overall, just a well-quality episode. I mean, I think a lot of people might think this episode was kind of boring because it's kind of like a slow burn. But, I mean, the payoffs and just how the episode went, it was really well.
Well, and I had just watched the episode very recently, and a few people had watched it already, and they were telling me, this one was a fluke. I didn't like this episode. It's probably my favorite as of right now.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. At first I thought, man, this is slow, but I'm like, this is all right, though, because it's explaining a lot, and it's going well, and it's not like... Yeah, it was slow, but it had good dialogue. It was good acting, so it made up for the slowness.
I really loved when the Countess goes over to that house to have dinner or whatever with him, and... Again, with the vulnerability, just how she was, so nervous around him and everything, and they have, the dancing scene.
Yeah, because the Countess is so confident.
Exactly. Now she's so, I'm the alpha, I'm up top.
Yeah.
But in here, it shows how vulnerable she was, and that's, I guess, how she fell in love with him and everything. So I thought that was really interesting. Another thing I found was very interesting was how she was the woman in black that kept going to the crypt to leave him a rose, every day or something like that, because she thought he was dead. And what's interesting about that is when Marilyn Monroe died and she was put into her crypt or whatever, Joe DiMaggio would send her fresh flowers, every week.
Yeah.
And so I'm I think that they're tying it into that, and I obviously love that era.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting. So, what was there anything that you didn't like about this episode?
Not really. It's all going really well. John's character.
Oh yeah, you almost forget he's even in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, John, he's having a mental breakdown. He's, lost his job, doesn't know what's going on with his wife, future ex-wife. I mean, and what's going on with their daughter,
Right? Nobody pays any attention to Scarlett at all.
It's like, who's taking care of Scarlett? Is Scarlett taking care of herself on the streets?
It's funny because they're like, oh, we love Holden. We gotta find Holden. Who gives a shit about Scarlett? That's the feeling that I get.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty freaking funny how, they don't really mention a whole lot, poor thing.
Yeah.
So overall, I loved this episode.
Yeah.
I loved the dialogue. I thought the acting was just excellent. The time period it was set in is probably what really set it for me.
Definitely.
So that's what I loved about it.
And also too, I think with Lady Gaga's gonna get a lot more different roles. I think this is really opening up for her because, I mean, she just brings it.
I thought that this episode just literally it blew me away at how
I mean, she's so multi-talented.
How talented she
yeah.
is. So incredibly talented, and this is the episode that kind of sealed the deal for me. Because in the other ones, I'm like, she can't really live up to Jessica Lange, whatever, like a lot of other people were thinking.
Yeah.
This episode changed my thoughts about that completely. She totally lived up to what I wanted to take away from this season.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, any final thoughts? Anything else you want to...
It's just... the season just keeps getting better with every episode, and it'll be interesting what goes on when it comes back on, not next week, but the week after.
Yeah, they're going to take a break.
It'll be interesting where they go with it, Yeah,
I was very pleased with this episode, and I think that they keep getting better. So I'm hoping 2 weeks from now that next episode is just going to be phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
I have high hopes for it.
And also, too, I want to see what happened with all those kids at the school. I mean, there has to be some outbreak or something going on.
Yeah, they haven't even addressed that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's kind of all over the place, but it's starting to fall in together.
Yeah, it's intertwining. It's starting to build a web and show how everything is connected.
So probably in the next episode, we'll get a little bit more feel of
what's going on.
What else is going on in the background, with Alex and Ramona.
Oh, yeah.
And Sally and just the other characters that were not in this episode. So I do have high hopes for the next one.
Same here.
I'm very, very excited. So I hope that you guys enjoyed our podcast. I love this episode. I'm sorry, I can't stop raving about it. So we will be coming back at you with another one in about 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks.
That's when the next episode is going to air. So make sure to check it out. We are the Horror Junkies of Utah. I am Tracie.
I'm Eddie.
You guys have a great night.
Have a great night.